Hello and welcome back. And we have yet another guest speaker in the studio with us today, Umbraco MEP Jeroen.
Hello.
Hi, Jeroen. So, how have you been enjoying the day today?
Yeah, fine. Great sessions. Loved
Yeah,
it so far.
absolutely. It's a privilege to have you in the studio. And of course, we are talking about external login providers, which can be so much more difficult and confusing to anyone.
Well, it's mostly a lot of configuration. So,
Absolutely. We are about to hear from the experts. So, take it away. The stage is all yours.
okay. Hi, welcome everyone to my presentation about Umbraco with external login providers. Let's start with an overview what this session is about. I will start with an introduction about OpenID Connect. Next, I'll show you how to implement this in Umbraco. And I will also demo how you can use external login providers on the website. This is not about users in the back office. It's about members on the website. And finally, I will tell you why you should use it, plus a little surprise. So OpenID Connect is a protocol. It allows clients to verify the identity of the user based on the authentication performed by an authorization server. So what you're seeing here is an example which uses OpenID Connect, where Azure Active Directory is the external login provider. So the user navigates to the web application and the web app redirects the user back to Azure Active Directory. There the user enters their credentials, and if they are valid, an ID token is returned to the browser. With the ID token, a redirect is done to the web server, which also checks again if it's valid. And finally, a secure page will be returned to the user if the ID token is valid. We will also follow these steps when we use external login providers with Umbraco. The ID token here is important. We're going to need that in our application later. Both Umbraco backoffice users and website members support external login providers for performing authentication of your users or your members. This could be any OpenID Connect provider, such as Azure Active Directory, Identity Server, or Google. Since Umbraco 9.3, there are core APIs in Umbraco available to connect to an external login provider. So no external package is required anymore. The demo of today will connect with Auth0 as the external login provider and will use these new APIs. The users or members are stored in the external login provider. Umbraco requires users or members to exist in Umbraco. With the linking, with auto-linking, when you log in on the external login provider, for the first time, the user or member will be created in Umbraco. It has events to change groups based on certain claims, so you can use roles from your external login provider, and that way give users or members in Umbraco different rights. There is some great documentation about implementing external login providers in Umbraco. I have created an open source example package based on this documentation. It uses OpenID Connect and has a few extras which aren't in the documentation, for example, logout. I will now explain how this example package works. So the next 6 slides are going to be code examples. The code is also on GitHub, and I also made a getting started video about it. So auto-link options. These are options when Umbraco creates a member and links the member from the external login provider. Here you can give a default member group, for example, and based on claims, you can add extra member groups in this event, or in the events that are here. Next, we have the OpenID Connect configuration. Your external login provider has data like a client ID and client secret. Those need to be configured here. This is a pretty default OpenID Connect configuration. On line 3, we can see the auto-link options from the previous slide. This demo today will connect to Auth0 using a free account. Next, we have the on-token validated event. Once you're logged in on the external login provider, it redirects you back to Umbraco. And there you have the data of the external login, and you can map it to the data that Umbraco needs. For example, you can add some extra claims. Like I mentioned before, claims can be user attributes. They can be an email, a name, or a role, for example. And Umbraco also needs certain claims to transform them here. This is a good one. On redirect to identity provider for sign out event. So login is easy, but logout is hard. Because logout needs to happen on two domains. You need to log out on your website, but also on your external login provider. So first you log out on the website, and then you will be redirected to the external login provider to log out there as well. And this is the event that can send data to the external login provider when you log out. Most external login providers need more data, for example, the ID token, which I also mentioned before. This way, the external login provider knows that the person that tries to log out is the same person that logged in before. If the ID token is valid, it will redirect you back to the website. Next, we have a custom logout controller. Like I mentioned, you need redirecting to the external login provider if you want to log out. There is a default Umbraco logout controller, but that does not support this because it uses the redirect to current Umbraco page. It overrides the redirect to the external login provider. So only use that if your members are in Umbraco and not in the external login provider. Instead, you can use this custom controller to trigger logout on the external login provider. If you're not logged out on the external login provider, you will be logged in again. Next up, we have the app settings. In the app settings, the JSON file, below the connection strings, you will find OpenID Connect settings. These are the only settings you need to change to connect to a different external login provider. You now see the settings for connecting to Auth0. Normally, of course, client secret and client ID should not be public, but they are only used in this example, so it's okay. Now it's time for a demo. So here we have the demo that I have on GitHub. It's a complete Umbraco solution with SQLite database that has the OpenID connection settings already set up. It's also using the Umbraco starter kit. So we just have some products, some people, but the About Us page is protected. So when you try to visit it, it instead redirects you to the login section. The About Us page is protected with normal Umbraco settings. So I just made this page protected in Umbraco and made sure that only a specific member group is allowed to visit it. And in order to do that, we need to log in. So on the login screen, we now have sign in with OpenID Connect. And if we press that, we are being redirected to Auth0. This is our external login provider. And if we log in here, we're being redirected back to the About Us page. We're logged in now, as you can see here. And yeah, so we're allowed to see the page. I have my network tab open because as you can see, there was a lot of redirecting, and here at the end, you can see that, oh, where is it? Oh, here on top is it's already, so we're being redirected to the external login provider, and that then sends us back to this page again. Let's quickly do it again, make it a bit more clear. Yeah, so we're, as you can see here now, we get redirected to the external login provider, and then we get back here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to delete my cookies, but only on my current site. So I am no longer logged in here. but I never logged out on my external login provider. So if I now want to log in again, I'm logged in again automatically, and that is why I said that if you want to use logout, you need to have that special event, and you also need to have the special controller, because you need to redirect to the external provider, log out there as well, and then get back here. And if you just delete your cookie, you get logged in again, and that means you cannot switch and log in with a different member, for example. So that's, if we log out now again, as you can see, we also need to log in on the external provider again. So that was my first demo with the Auth0 provider. I actually have a second demo here. In this demo, I'm actually redirecting to a different external login provider. So all I did was change the OpenID Connect settings. Again, if I try to go to my About Us page, I'm being sent to my login page. Let's log in again. And now we're being redirected to a different external login provider. In this case, I'm using the Anexus website. That is also a website that I've been working on. It's actually powered by Sidecar, but on here we can actually log in and also get sent back to our Umbraco website. And now we are logged in here as well. So I'm just using a different provider. Now, if I log out again, let's see, and now I try to log in again. I am now logged in on both the Anexus website, on the external login provider, and on my Umbraco website. But here I'm actually on the website and I am not logged in yet. And if I now try to log in here, I am being logged in here automatically, and that is because I already logged in through the Umbraco website. Now let's log out again on both websites. And now if I first log in on the Anexus website, yeah, I am logged in here. And now try to log in here. I'm also logged in automatically because I was already logged in on the Anexus website and on the external login provider. That was the demo, so let's go back to the slides. So what I just shown is that the external login provider is actually the bridge between Umbraco and Sidecar. They don't know anything about each other. The Anexus login page is configured on the external login provider. And once you're logged in on one of the websites, you can log in automatically on the other website with single sign-on. You only need to manage members in the external login provider, and then they can log in on both websites. And that is actually the power of a composable DXP setup. So why you should use external login providers? As soon as you use external login providers with Umbraco, there are several components you no longer need to build yourself. For example, the login screen, register, forgot password, but also two-factor authentication if you want to use it. Members are also stored outside of Umbraco, and that can be useful if you want to use single sign-on. This fits perfectly in a composable DXP solution, like I just mentioned. In an old Umbraco 7 project, we also had a lot of members stored in Umbraco. We wanted to keep everything together in the same database and found it unnecessary to store them separately. There were even custom tables with more member data. It seemed like a good idea at the time, but it made the upgrade to Umbraco 10 unnecessarily difficult. If we could have used external login providers back then, it would have saved us a lot of work. The only drawback is that there will probably be additional costs. If you only store members in Umbraco, it is free. External login providers usually have a free tier, but can get expensive if you have a lot of members. The demo I just gave is also on GitHub. It's free and open source. Like I mentioned, it's a complete solution with SQLite database. You can just download it and run it, and it works out of the box. I didn't create a NuGet package for this because each OpenID connection is different. So it's better to copy this example to your own project and make the changes that you need. If you find this presentation interesting so far, you should definitely give it a try. Like I mentioned, I also created a getting started video that is also on the GitHub page. It shows how to run the project and it goes through all the files just like I do in this presentation. While developing the OpenID Connect example package, I ran into some issues. All the issues that I reported are fixed in Umbraco 10.2. This version is already out for a year now, so hopefully everybody is on a newer version. However, it was frustrating to discover these bugs because I tried things that should just work. The fact that these things didn't work meant no one had ever tried it. I was the first one to do this, and that cost me a few nights of debugging. So quickly, let's look at the issues that I reported. So tokens were not stored in the table. The ID token that I needed for logout was actually outdated. And that is now fixed, and you always get the ID token that you need. It also tried to update a member before it was created. So this prevented us from logging in on older versions of Umbraco 10 with external login providers. That is now also fixed, and it only tries to update a member if it already exists. It also wasn't possible to delete a member, and now if you try to delete a member, it will also delete all the data in the Umbraco external login token table. And finally, claims were not transferred, and now it's possible that claims are actually transferred from the external login provider to the member in Umbraco. I discovered some of these bugs because I already did an OpenID Connect implementation in Sidecar. So I'm using my Sidecar knowledge to help improve Umbraco, and it happens the other way around too. Finally, I want to talk about virtual members. The auto-link feature creates a member in Umbraco and links the external login member. The member is created the first time they log in with the external login provider. The problem with the current solution is that the member needs to exist in two systems, in Umbraco and in the external login provider. This makes it harder to use the external login provider as a single source of truth for all members. If the external login provider has thousands of members, you don't want them inside Umbraco as well. When you authenticate members through external providers, Umbraco could create and authenticate a virtual user or member with proper access rights, and this virtual user or member should only exist while their session lasts. This doesn't exist yet, but is a feature request. I have it working. I have a working experiment on the GitHub repo I just showed, and there is a branch which supports virtual members, but it's an experiment, and yeah, should definitely. It's better to wait for the official feature request to be implemented. However, on the next 4 slides, I'm still going to show you the adjustments I made to get this working. First, you need to override the member sign-in manager. So if you log in with an external login provider, the external login sign-in async method will be executed. And this is where the autolink feature tries to create the member in Umbraco. And by creating a custom class and overriding this method, we can change this behavior. Instead of creating the member in Umbraco, we now create a virtual member. And that virtual member is then used to log in with. Next, we need to override the member manager. Umbraco uses this class for everything that is related to members. For example, if you try to visit a page which is protected, Umbraco will use it to get the current member and check if it has access to that protected page. By creating a custom class and overriding some methods, we can return the virtual member instead of fetching the member from the database. The create virtual member extension method, in both custom classes that I just showed, a virtual member is created, and this is actually the extension method that is used there. It creates a member identity user and transforms claims from the external login provider, so it doesn't create the member in Umbraco or tries to fetch it. And finally, we need to register these custom classes. Umbraco already registered the member sign-in manager and member manager class, so we need to override those with our own implementation. The SAP member manager already exists. A custom extension method is used for the member sign-in manager. And these are all the changes needed to use virtual members in Umbraco. After this, you can use an external login provider and the members no longer need to exist in Umbraco. As I stated before, this is an experiment. It's not production ready. This example shows how easy it is to change functionality in Umbraco without modifying the source code. You can do this for all interfaces. You probably shouldn't do this, but it is possible. And that's it. My name is Jeroen Breuer. I'm a senior software developer at I/O. I've been working with Umbraco for 14 years, and I'm a 4-time MVP. Thank you.
Well, that was great, Jeroen. I was sitting there and enjoying your conversation and this entire session.
Okay.
And I think everyone who's been seeing this have learned a lot and has a lot to take away. So when it comes across about external login providers, I think you've set a benchmark for yourself within the community about having a lot of community work done around this topic. So what was the inspiration?
Well, like I said, I already did an implementation in Sitecore, and I actually just wanted to try, like, how easy is it to do the same Sitecore implementation in Umbraco with the same provider. And since it was still relatively new when I wanted to try it, it felt like a good thing to experiment with and to just see, like, okay, what is the benefit of this external login provider? And like I just demoed, once you have it set up, you can have your members in one single place, and they can log in into multiple websites. And I think that is really cool.
Okay, so is this working with the base that Umbraco provides you, that is the external login platform, or this is completely separate from that, isn't it? Like Umbraco can help you log into something like GitHub or something like that, but this is well away from that, or maybe complementing it to a great extent.
Maybe complementing it,
Yeah.
yeah, because Umbraco provides all the APIs. So what I now try to do with Auth0 or with the provider that ANexus uses, you can probably also, as long as you're using OpenID Connect, you can connect to anything. So also to GitHub, probably, if you want
or
to.
any platform that
Any
supports
platform, yep.
OpenID, and that one of the first slides where you show what the workflow with an OpenID Connect is, incredibly useful, because that is what lays the foundation of this entire topic, which is extremely complex. And I think you've pretty much nailed a lot of community contributions here. Talks, blog posts, a package, and you even took it to next level, showing 2 different sites actually being logged in. Wow. A lot of thinking and a lot of work has gone into it, clearly. And talking about the virtual members, so that is very interesting. That's going to change a lot of things when it comes to how we deal with such external providers as well, I guess, isn't it? Now we need to have everything in Umbraco as an Umbraco member if we are to log in using Umbraco, even to external login providers. But it looks like with virtual members, we can actually get past that step too.
Yes, you can, but it's really hacky at the moment. So I have this branch, and some people have been contacting me like, I'm using this in production. I'm like, I'm not really sure if you should do that. For example, it overrides only a few methods, so no other methods. So with virtual members, the member no longer needs to exist in Umbraco, but I have no idea what happens if someone goes into the back office and creates a member in the back office. That shouldn't be, you should disable then that feature, for example. And if you do,
a lot of things have to come kind of round up and
yes, exactly.
present
So,
itself. And again, talking about community contributions, the issues that you posted in, again, educating about the issues and what those issues are, again, incredibly helpful and what we need to look out for.
Yep.
So, I think we can take a break at this point and make way to the next speaker. But thank you so much for being in the studio. And that too, of course, I changed the slot from 7 o'clock to 4:30.
That's only better. That's only better.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for showing up at the studio and being here and being a part of the entire
Okay.
crew. Yeah.
You're welcome.